this lesson we're going to talk about the C chord, the open C chord, which is one of the 5 main patterns we'll be studying on the guitar. It's important that we talk about how the chord is constructed, and we're going to learn not only how the chord is constructed, but we'll also take a look at the major scale, which is important to understand exactly how the chord is constructed. In figure 1 you'll see the C chord, and probably a lot of you already know this chord. It's one of the first chords anybody ever learns. But it is one of the 5 patterns that you'll find, or shapes, I like to call them shapes, that you'll find on the guitar that all our scales and arpeggios and other chords are built off of. Now in figure 2 we have the C major scale in extended form. It starts on a C, which is the 3rd fret of the A string. And that would be the octave. And then we can continue the scale. Now if we look at figure 3, we'll see in parentheses are C notes that are in this scale. And the C note's most important because it is the root that the scale is built off of. So C is the most important note in the C major scale. And in the pattern that we just played, it appears twice, on the 3rd fret of the A string and on the 1st fret of the B string. Now we're wondering how we got all these other notes in there. Well, to construct a major chord, we take the 1st, which is in this case the 3rd fret on the A string, which is a C. So the 1st would be a C, and then we can count up the scale: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. To build a major chord, you're going to take the 1st, the 3rd, and 5th scale step. So we have our 1st. Now we'll find our 3rd. 1, 2, 3. So that's our second note in the chord, which is the 3rd scale step, and then our 5th scale step. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 3 notes that comprise the C major chord: C, E, and G. Alright, in figure 5 you can see these 3 notes, and what we have there is called a triad. Excuse me. So it would be those 3 notes. But you notice that the C chord we're not just playing 3 notes, we're playing 5 notes. Well, that's just a case of us repeating the same notes. Again, we already know that 1st fret of the B string is a C, so those are 2 C's, and we also have the high E string, so we automatically know that we're repeating the C 2 times and E 2 times, and we're only playing the G once. So there's our 3 different notes on 5 strings. Now this will help us understand as we go forward how this chord is constructed, because we are going to be adding scale shapes and arpeggios around, and you know, it's nice to know how that chord came about. All major scales are constructed the same way. You take the root and the 3rd and the 5th. Root is another word for the 1st, or the 1 note, which, you know, if you're going to make a G chord, it will be a G. If you're going to make a C chord, it's the root, or the 1st will be a C. In the next lesson, we'll talk about our basic scale shape that we can add to our C chord, and we'll also be adding arpeggio, and we'll be learning how to carry it up as a bar chord also. But it's one of the 5 main chord shapes that we'll be learning for the major, and it's just as important as the other 4. They're all coexist together, and once we have the 5 different shapes, we'll be able to play anywhere on the fretboard. But you know, it's going to take us a couple of weeks of studying these chord shapes before we can kind of start putting the pieces together. So your homework assignment should be to review how this C chord is constructed. You can practice with that major scale in figure 2, and start and count up the scale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and practice taking the first scale step, the third scale step, and the fifth scale step, and take a look at the figure 5 again and realize that we're only playing 3 different notes when we play that C chord. And that's all for now.